When you think about the US and the commitments that they've made, especially ahead of the midterm elections, how do you feel like the midterm elections have played a role in the United States promises and what they're actually hopefully able to get done in terms of climate change?
I think it remains to be said. I do think that with certain leadership changes, right, there might be less of a focus on the environment, at least from, say, the House of Representatives. There's been already some talk about, right, is there a way to curtail, some of the environmentally focused or environmentally first initiatives, right? But at the same time, again, it remains to be seen. I think the United States and other leading industrialized nations have an obligation to lead, and hopefully they do. But I think more to the point of what's exactly going to happen now, right? It's the problem that when you need to make these generational long commitments, there can be whipsaws in what governments do depending on a given election, and that can set everything back with years, if not decades. Right? I mean, the United States is an example of having entered and then gotten out of and then gotten back into the Paris Accords. Right? But at the same time, it's not limited to the United States. The president of Brazil just showed up to say Brazil's back, right? After a period in which Brazil was not particularly focused on the environment. But a country like Brazil, with all the rainforests and all of the needs to protect, well, the Amazon is also often referred to the world's lungs, right? Taking 5-6 years off is not really acceptable, right? It's not going to get us to where we need to get to. So I think, versus the United States, it's how do we come up with a way in which we can incentivize these long-term plans, put these plans into motion, and hold ourselves accountable so that one election in different parts of the world doesn't absolutely just alter the course of the action that we're taking to help save the environment.
Is there something that you would like to see private companies or even private citizens do to help play their part in combating climate change?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I think this, at the end of the day, right, and governments can and should be representatives of the people. And so just expect more, want more, demand more. From a consumer point of view, there are tools now in technology that they can demand so that the companies that are providing them goods can tell them more about where the goods come from, how they were made, right? How sustainable or not they are. And to the extent that consumers ask this of companies will give it to them, right? And I think that is the best way in which we can tackle this, because we get focused a lot on the governments. And of course, the governments have the biggest amount of budgets to spend, and they're a lot of times the representatives at these types of organizations and summits and the like. But really, if it's the average person, the average consumer that says, no, this is enough, I demand to know, and I know that there is technology that will help me know, the companies will give it to them, and that is what will effectuate change. So I'm really hopeful that the private sector will take the lead here, because that's something that is not open to just changes every election cycle.